Hey, welcome to the Thursday Checkdown, the show that's designed to help you win your leagues. And this week, it's your playoffs. So we're really out to help you win your leagues this week. And in dedication to the 32nd NFL team, my compatriot is wearing a honorary 32 jersey from the Texans.
Yeah, this was a jersey they gave out to season ticket holders the first season. When you bought the ticket, you got the jersey. So it shows the 32. There's no name on the back. And it has the old navy blue yoke. I think they've changed that twice since. So anyway.
Yeah, we've got a full show tonight. And again, it's a very important week this week. So we're going to get right into our first segment, which, Iggy, show them what it is. That's right. It's the pros versus Joes. And Rick, our pro this week is Dave Cruz. Dave, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where they can find your work? How long you been doing this thing?
Yeah, well, I've been playing fantasy football. You can tell I'm only about 23, so I've only been playing for about 5 years. Just kidding. I've been in doing this since the early 90s. So it's been a long ride. A lot of successes, a lot of failures. So still learning, still growing. I've been working the past 2 seasons for Razzball NFL. Right now, I'm doing 3 columns a week. I'm handling their fantasy football tournament that they run every year called the Razz Bowl. This year, we've got 240 members, and I work with pretty much with 4 guys, and we have a 5th member that exists down in Australia. So it's a lot of fun. We do a Sunday start sit show like pretty much everybody in the population does these days, but we have a lot of fun doing it. The guys are very knowledgeable. We have a lot of databases on the site that we use, and it's great. I'm having a great time doing it. Looking forward to doing it again next season and having a Razz Bowl 8. And anybody, I see your comment. Anybody is invited to join. Just reach out to me. You follow me on Twitter, and I'm part of Iggy's FF7's tournament. I think this is my 4th year doing that. That tournament's a blast. Very, very challenging, and a lot of great players in that tournament. I love it. So
this community is amazing. I mean, the people in it are just astounding. And an example of that is our Joe tonight was supposed to be a friend of Mike Pelton's, Kevin, but he can only do it on Friday nights. So we have Professor Fantasy joining us as our Joe tonight. Okay. So Dr. John Bush, a true professor. Okay. Thanks for stepping up, John. Tell people about you and especially about the work you do for the fantasy, for the sports affiliation.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a retired molecular microbiologist, geneticist, cell biologist, whatever. For 30 years at University of Arkansas at Little Rock, UALR. And I live south of Little Rock, so really don't have a state professional team, but I grew up in Louisiana, so I've got my Saints long, a lot of tears, okay, right here, a lot of tears. There's the bag over the head accessory for the Aints, and so I have that as well. I am retired, helped folks get in to become doctors, pharmacists, vets, whatever they need to do in their world. And I was started at a blog, Greg. You probably don't know that. And I got recruited by fake pigskin, and they went through several owners and disappeared. So my colleague, who's Pop on Tuesday, Dennis Mitchelson, and I started the Science of Fantasy Football. I'm good at stats, analysis, using the scientific method to break down the data. And we'll be doing another poster session at the expo. I did it this year. So come contact me if anybody's interested in doing and presenting a poster. Bob Lung let us do 2 last year. Maybe he'll let us do more. Love that guy.
I got to tell you, I love Bob too, by the way. But John here, for those that don't know, I'm in the Pick'em contest.
Okay.
And I'm doing it for Fantasy Nerds, where I'm in first place. I've got actually 4 more right in the TSA one, and I'm in 7th place in TSA with 4 more right than I'm in first place in Fantasy Nerds. And John is killing us all. He's like 11 ahead of me or something. He's just, I ain't catching him this year, I can tell you that. But speaking of catching, we actually believe in accountability. So each of our pros is going to get a chance to pick a sleeper and a bust each week. And we track how many right they've got. Our Joes do the same, and then the hosts do the same. And we add up mine and Rick's and compare it to the host and the Joes and the pros added up. So right now, I think my numbers are wrong. I'm saying the Joes are up 9-7, but that's an old number. I think it's like 13-12 or something. Right?
Inexcusable.
It is inexcusable. I think right now the pros are 1 behind the Joes. I think they closed last night. I'll have to fix that. But I know that we're still about 10 ahead of the pros and Joes. Me and Rick are dominating. We're just that good. So we're gonna go right to our pro, Mr. Cruz. Dave, who you got as your first sleeper?
Well, my sleeper this week is kind of low-hanging fruit. I picked DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears. He's lowly ranked, only probably temporarily. News came out today that both Roma Dunze and Luther Burden are going to miss the game. So DJ Moore is kind of like the last man standing among the main receivers. His competition for targets among the wide receivers are going to be Olamide Zacchaeus, Devin Duvernay, and Jade Walker, excuse me. I would expect them to probably try to run the ball more, use the backs a little bit more in the passing game. I agree with Greg when we were before the show. I think Colston Loveland's in line for a pretty good week, but I still think DJ Moore will eat this week and definitely crush his current ranking in the rankings.
So good luck with that. We're going over to our Joe now. John, who do you have as your sleeper this week?
Mike Gesicki, Cincinnati. It's against Miami. It's going to be panic city in Miami. They're not going to know what to do. I say play all your Cincinnati, but Gesicki should have a nice chance to collect a lot of points for your team. So this is if you need some streaming type and you've got some injuries or something, I think he's going to get you into the top 12 tight ends this week. That's
Mike Gesicki. For those of you that don't know that there's no R in his name, it's Gesicki. No, that's okay. It's okay. I had to tease you a little bit.
That's
Rick,
okay.
who do you got?
Yeah, I was, and first of all, I wanted to, someone mentions Zacchaeus, and last year, about this time, maybe it was a week later, Zacchaeus stepped up, came in and filled in, I think in Atlanta at the time, and what helped me win a championship. So that's a deep target if anyone is looking for wide receiver.
Is that your sleeper?
Oh, heck no. I did go pretty deep. I didn't do any low.
Alamedi?
Yeah, no, almost as close. Jalen Coker, Carolina Panthers wide receiver. He's tallied double-digit fantasy points in back-to-back games. He had 4 for 4 for 60 and a touchdown versus the Saints. He also had 4 for 6 for 74 and a touchdown. And so he's had touchdowns for his last 2 games. He's going to face a slumping Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense who gave up 373 yards to Atlanta, 144 yards to New Orleans, but 301 yards to Arizona and 273 yards to the Rams. So while I would have been even stronger in on Coker if Ted McMillan wasn't going to be playing, but it sounds like he's going to be in. But maybe that also gives Coker a chance to go up against the second cornerback for the team at Tampa Bay. So Jalen Coker, Carolina Panther wide receiver.
All right, now it's my turn, and my pick is just for our compatriot JC Money Design, who he's a huge Minnesota fan, but he absolutely hates my Michigan quarterback, JJ McCarthy. This pick is for him. Eventually, he's going to learn to trust McCarthy because McCarthy is the real deal. He's finished in the top 10 2 weeks in a row. Okay. Now, granted, it was Washington and Dallas, but the Giants just aren't that much better. Now, JJ's got 2 really good wide receivers. People have forgotten this guy named Jefferson is actually a pretty good receiver. And in the preseason, I thought that McCarthy was building up great chemistry with Jordan Addison. Now, Addison has done okay, but he hasn't done great. I do think that I like JJ this week. I think we're going to see him in the top 12 for sure, but possibly top 5 this week against the Giants. So that's mine. But now we got to go back to Dave to find out who his bust is.
Okay, I went pretty high up the list for my bust to balance out my low hanging fruit sleeper. I'm gonna pick Travis Etienne, Jacksonville. I was actually really surprised to see him ranked in the top 10 this week. Denver in their last 4 games is allowing less than 70 rushing yards and only 11.5 receiving yards per game to running backs. They have allowed 4 total touchdowns. So there is a possibility that I eat my words here. But and Josh Jacobs had a pretty good game against them last week. But Josh Jacobs is a focal point of the Green Bay offense. If there's a guy that's probably a guy you can count on with Tucker Kraft out of the lineup, it's Josh Jacobs. So I'm gonna go with Etienne. He just doesn't get the amount of touches usually to warrant such a high ranking to me. So he could still come through with touchdowns, but I just don't like the yardage and the touch situation there. I think they're going to end up having to throw the ball a lot. And the weather conditions in Denver are supposed to be unbelievably beautiful for this time of year. So I'm gonna go Etienne as bust.
John? Go ahead, Dave.
No, all right, you finish. I'm done.
All right, John.
Travis Kelce is his floor ceiling is 0 to, I don't know, 10, maybe 10 points. Maybe gets, but Minshew's going to be slinging every which way. I don't even know. I can't remember the last time Kelce was catching balls from somebody other than Mahomes. It's been a while, so I don't know how that chemistry is going to go. I just in the playoffs, I'd hate to be relying on Kelce. He's number 2 or something in your list, but not for me.
All right. It's hard to bench the number 2 tight end, especially when his last name is Kelce. But I applaud you for doing it. Rick, what do you got?
Well, and usually I like tight ends, especially when you have a premium in your league. But I went with another tight end, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Cowboy tight end. He's facing the Chargers, which is generally a pretty tough team on defense and tough on tight ends. But really more, Ferguson has been slumping the past 7 weeks, averaging only 8 fantasy points per game. And in a game against Minnesota's pass-friendly defense, where Dallas had 294 yards, he was only 2 for 16, only had 4 targets. Dak is clearly favoring CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and even Ryan Flournoy. I'd fade the Cowboys tight end. And I love sticking it to the Cowboys, being a Texan fan. So anyway, there you go.
Well, I like your call of the tight end, to be honest, because with me, I went with Hunter Henry of New England. Henry, week 16, he's playing against the Ravens in a game that's critical to their playoff chances. They have got to win this game, and it's going to be hard enough going up against the Patriots. But the Ravens defense has been very tough against tight ends this year. They're one of the best in the NFL. They're giving up 8.6 PPR points to tight ends all year long. And even though Henry currently ranks as the 12th rated tight end, it's an illusion, okay? He's finished in the weekly top 12 3 times all year, just 3, okay?
Tight end won twice.
Yeah, but the reason he is in the top 12 is because he hasn't missed any games. He's played in all the games. So for me,
arguing, I'm punctuating.
Yeah. He can have a good game. There's no doubt. But if you take one of those tight end ones away, he's probably not in the top 12 and not eligible. So he's mine. So I want to thank you guys and invite both John and Dave to stick around. We're going to send them to the back room, and then we're going to let Rick take over and tell us the news of the day. Iggy?
Hey there, everyone. First of all, no buys this week, but before we get to the injury report, there was bigger news this week, and that was the Miami Dolphins benched Tua Tagovailoa. He has been benched and been replaced not by quarterback number 2, Zach Wilson, but by rookie from the University of Texas, Quinn Ewers. Tua didn't really have that bad of a game last week. If you look at 22 for 28 with 2 touchdowns, but this is really a sign that the Dolphins are looking into the future.
They didn't just bench him; they moved him to number 3.
Yeah, he's the emergency quarterback this week. Zach Wilson will be the backup. So, the excuse or the reasoning behind it was that they've had plenty of tape on Zach Wilson, and they wanted to see what they were getting with the 7th round draft pick, Quinn Ewers. He's looked bad, I have to admit. And in fact, the implied total for the game, the folks that track this, the people on the betting lines, already moved the Dolphins' implied total from 26 to 21. He was 5 for 18 with 91 yards and 2 fumbles in his preseason start against Chicago. He did go 11 for 17 for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns in his second preseason game, and he was 7 for 8 for 66 yards in his third game.
Before we throw him under the bus, though, Rick, we got to remember there was a 6th-round draft pick that turned out to be a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, although I don't think you're going to be putting too much money year after year on 6th or 7th round draft picks to be taking your team as that. And I think you can go even farther back with, I think Joe Montana was a 5th round draft pick too, I think. If I can remember.
I'm talking about Tom Brady, though.
Yeah, that other guy, I know. But Anyway, so some of us are desperate and actually are thinking about starting.
Was Purdy an undrafted free agent signing, or was he a late round pick? I don't remember.
I actually don't remember. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into the injury report. And we already talked about it. Patrick Mahomes, he's out, had surgery. Really, the question is how or when he will be able to come back in 2026. Gardner Minshew has taken over. He was once a popular super sub type quarterback, like a Fitzpatrick level, Ryan Fitzpatrick. But the Chiefs' playoff hopes are gone. I think you're still going to start Rice if he were able to play, and we don't know. He's in concussion protocol. Kelsey, we've already talked about not starting him.
Do you think Rashard Smith's going to get more play because they're pretty much out of it?
Yeah, they have to start looking at, because they know what they've got with the two veteran running backs,
Pacheco and Hunt. Yeah.
So you would look at perhaps, and he's more of a pass catching type of a running back.
He's a small guy. He's like 194 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to be your
three down back.
Yeah, bringing it all. Jaden Daniels has been announced he's out rest of season. Anthony Richardson has been brought. I think they gave the 21-day clock. So, but
limited practice this week though, so don't take Rivers.
Oh, sure, yeah, they're going to be playing Philip Rivers while they're still competing. Yep. They're only a game out of the final wild card spot. If for whatever reason, they fall completely out of it, maybe you might see Richardson get a start at the end of the season.
Did you see, before we get to the next one, did you see the shot of his high school team when he threw the touchdown pass to Josh Downs? Man, that is what football is about. I love that.
Love it. Want to talk about R.J. Harvey. He looks like he is going to play. He practiced in full on Wednesday. So that's a good sign. Woody Marks, not so good sign. He hasn't practiced yesterday or today. If he misses time, Jahar Jordan would be the likely replacement, and he's probably been grabbed up in all the waiver wires. Bashal Tutin, we talked about Jacksonville ETN. He left the game, had finger surgery, so he's out. So LaQuint Allen, another rookie running back, is the likely backup, and he's also a good receiving back, also an even better pass blocking back. So if Jacksonville falls behind, expect to see more of Allen. Devin Neal, he's out.
They are out.
They are also missing Kamara and Kendry Miller. So I think Audric Estime is going to be the running back to look for. Evan Holland and Estime will probably split.
But, they split 50-50, but Estime did so much better. I expect him to get 60-40, 70-30 this week.
Yeah. And Chris Rodriguez appears to be not on the injury report. We had been looking forward to Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as the taking over the lead back, but it looks like it's falling back into a committee. Devontae Adams just a few minutes ago was ruled out, and so I would expect.
Does that increase Parkinson in your eyes?
Oh, definitely. In fact, the other wide receivers, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, and Kamada Mumford, Xavier Smith, they're not going to get a lot of looks. I think that's Puka Nacua, of course, and Colby Parkinson. So
I think Tutu might get a little bit more play because he's got the experience. He's been around for several years.
Yeah, and I also think Jordan Whittington looked pretty good in spurts, but from what I understand, Kamada Mumford is taking over.
Isn't Whittington their return guy too?
He is a return guy, so I know what you're going to say.
If you get points for return yards, consider him.
Okay, looks like Drake London might be back. But Devon Vele, New Orleans Saints wide receiver, is ruled out. So their backups, Kevin Austin, Mason Tipton, We already mentioned Luther Burden. He's out. So it looks like DJ Moore, who had 2 touchdowns last week, Colson Loveland will be getting a boost. And then Ricky Pearsall, still not known whether or not he's going to be able to go. T. Higgins still in.
Limited in practice.
Yeah. I'll list off a couple of the big injuries. Micah Parsons, the Green Bay Packers defensive end, is out with the torn ACL. Zycam McCollum, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive back, is on IR. Josh Metellus, the Minnesota defensive back, he had shoulder surgery. A couple offensive line injuries to note. Zach Tom, Green Bay Packer offensive lineman, out with a knee problem. Brian O'Neill, Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings offensive line has just been brutalized the last couple of weeks. He's out with an injury. He's an offensive tackle. Abraham Lucas in the Seattle Seahawks playing tonight. He's out with the shoulder. And Larry Tunsil, Washington Commanders offensive tackle, with an oblique injury. We have a few other injuries I could note. Jonathan Greenard, the Minnesota Viking defensive end, out with the shoulder injury. Xavier Woods, Tennessee Titans safety, hamstring. Teddy Buchanan, Baltimore Ravens linebacker, out with a knee problem. Cody Simon, Arizona Cardinal linebacker, with a knee problem. And my Houston Texans, Darryl Stingley, Houston Texans cornerback, had an oblique injury. And that's it for the injury report.
Well, we're early, but I'd just soon start our next segment early to give us extra time for the mailbag. So if you would, Iggy, take us to the AI segment. We don't always come in early, but I did take a look and saw that our good friend Tipp was in the green room waiting. So, hey, for those that don't know, Tipp's daughter had a recital, and from what I understand, she killed it during the recital. So, Merry Christmas, Lauren, right? Lauren?
Yeah.
All right, so Tipp, why don't you explain what we're doing here?
Yeah, so we are doing our AI segment. We've been doing it all season long here, guys, and I gotta say, it's been really fun. It's been an exciting one. It's been a little stressful at times because, I don't like to lose, and especially I don't want to lose to an AI. And right now, me and Sir Whittington are actually tied still. We cannot beat each other out. Like, I think this is the week, though. I think this is the week one of us will prevail.
Inexcusable.
And right now, we are both sitting at 36. Krog. Poor Krog.
No, Krog. Are you sure? Because I've got Krog at 36. I got you guys at 26.
No. It's Krog at 48.
Oh.
Krog is way out of that. Like, Krog is so far gone. I almost didn't allow him to come in to do the segment because he's so far gone. But I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and allow him to do it. But
he's the one that you say has parts from Russia, right?
He's got the Russian parts. They couldn't get it to him on time. And then obviously now they got him. But those parts are defective. The parts have been defective for weeks now. But I will say this, guys. You and Rick are neck and neck as well. You're right at 38 as well. So you guys have an opportunity to even surpass in the next couple of weeks. Surpass Sir Whittington or myself. So we are by no means out of this.
We're just letting you guys stay in it. That's all. We're just letting you stay in it.
Well, you know what? This week is when we came up with the players for this week, and every week, what we do, guys, is we come up with the flex options players. We come up with a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end. Now, the running back and the wide receivers are in the top 24, or outside the top 24. Do we feel like they're going to go get inside that top 24? Some of the weeks we've been right. Some of the weeks we've been wrong. The tight end, on the other hand, is in the top 12, outside of the top 12. Can we get that tight end inside the top 12? I don't know if we will, but this week with the tight end. But let's go ahead and tell you what Sir Whittington had to say. Sir Whittington went
Well, wait a minute.
I'm sorry, you need
that,
to know the players. You need to know the players.
well, not just the players. I want you guys to all know that these three players year to date are within 0.2 of a point
Yeah.
of each other year to date scoring. They've all scored 116 point something points. One of them, the wide receiver, is the lowest scoring. He scored 116.2. The tight end and the running back have scored 116.4 for the year. So now tell us who they are, Tim.
So the wide receiver is Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings. Our running back this week is Tyrone Tracy Jr. of the New York Giants. And our tight end that we're choosing from is Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. So, you know, when I looked at these names, these are names that you may have thought were going to be, you know, formidable for you throughout the whole season, you know, especially Jordan Mason, Mark Andrews, Tyrone Tracy, we didn't know. But I will say this was a really good one. And like Greg said, they were like right at the same amount of points. So it made it really, really, really difficult. And this is week 16. This is when we have some of those difficult questions need to be answered. So we're here to help you with that. And we're going to start with Sir Whittington. Sir Whittington, he went with Jordan Addison as his number one guy. And he said he has a really good PPR floor. I don't know if that's the case because his floor has been mighty low the last couple of weeks. But he also says that he has a role opposite of Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson has not been doing what Justin Jefferson has done the last few seasons, which is allowing J.J. McCarthy to look at Jordan Addison and some of the other receivers more. He also said that Tyrone Tracy was his number 2 player. And what he said about Tyrone Tracy is that he's a good flex option. Lead back usage last week. That is something that I'm going to talk about as well. He had lead back usage last week. And also, but the problem is they feel like that this matchup with Minnesota is going to be a tough matchup. I don't think so. But we'll talk about that as well. And then Mark Andrews rounds up his third one. And Mark Andrews, he pretty much at this point, he's a red zone liable tight end at this point. That is what you're getting out of him. You saw what happened last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Who saw that coming? That none of the tight ends would have done anything. And Mark Andrews was one of those tight ends along with Isaiah Likely. So that's how he has it rounded out as Mark Andrews number 3. So Krog, look, I thought about not allowing him to do anything, but I was like, no, he was here the whole season, so we're going to allow him to do it. He has Tyrone Tracy number 1. He says he's a clear lead back, and I agree with him on that. I think that he is a clear lead back. Look, where are the Giants going? The Giants aren't going anywhere. So right now, let's see what they have at Tyrone Tracy. I have another theory, too. We know Cam Scatterboo is gone. Devin Singletary's there, but there's really no ties to Devin Singletary now that there's no Brian Daboll. So, you know, hey, Devin Singletary will be a handcuff to Tyrone Tracy because I think that he's a clear lead back. Jordan Addison at number 3. He said he has a really good ceiling, but there hasn't been anything in this offense as far as a high-powered offense goes. What you want to see, you know, multiple receivers getting the ball, a la a Dallas Cowboys team, or if the Cincinnati Bengals team is together and a team like that where you can have multiple wide receivers going off and doing things. He just doesn't feel like that's the case. He feels like that Jordan Addison doesn't really provide the output that you need for him to be number 1. And then again, rounding off at number 3 is Mark Andrews. I think we're all going to be on the same boat as far as Mark Andrews goes from our standpoints. Biggest thing with Mark Andrews is the red zone thing. That's really all he's dependent on. And it's tough to depend on a player for just touchdowns. And in an offense that's not doing so well, it's even tougher. So I'm going to tell you my 3. So my 3 are Tyrone Tracy. And I want you guys to kind of close your eyes for a minute and envision this. It's showcase time. And what I mean by showcase time is a lot of times at the end of the season, you get these players who are either free agents, who may not have a future on a team, who, you know, just don't know what their future is going to be. They are being showcased. Their teams are showcasing them. They're showcasing what they can do for other teams should they get picked up in free agency or traded. think that's what's going on with Tyrone Tracy here. We've seen players like Rashad Penny. This happened to them, although he got injured later in that or the next year. And then we've seen people like Kenyon Drake. They've cashed in on something like this as well, where they have a really great back end of the season, win people some fantasy championships. I think Tyrone Tracy is in a showcase time right now. And then he's acted as a lead back last week. Last week he had almost right at 20 targets or 20 touches. And right now, Minnesota's good. They're a good defense. They're good against the receivers and quarterbacks, not so much against the running backs. Besides that game that they had a couple weeks ago against the Commanders, they are giving up rushing touchdowns. And when they're playing away from Minnesota's the Vikings field, then they're really giving up some points to the running back. So I like Tyrone Tracy this week. Jordan Addison, he has a great matchup going against Tyrone Tracy's team. That it's a really good match, but the targets are just not consistent. And then not only that, Jalen Naylor last week, he had 5 targets. You have Justin Jefferson you got to worry about. Now you also got to worry about T.J. Hockenson. Last week, T.J. Hockenson had 66 yards. The week before that, in week 14, he had 12 yards, but he had a touchdown. And then in week 13, he had 59 yards. So him and J.J. McCarthy are developing a little bit of a chemistry here that I think people need to start paying attention to, and it might be hurting Jordan Addison as it did last week, where he didn't do jack squat. And then it rounds up for me again is Mark Andrews. New England does give up points to the tight end, but I cannot trust this offense. I can't believe I'm saying I can't trust a Lamar Jackson offense, but I can't trust it, guys. They don't run the ball effectively. They get into these situations where they have to have lucky plays in order to score points for themselves or for fantasy. I'm not down with that. I want it to be something that I can rely upon, and I can't rely on Mark Andrews right now. So Mark Andrews rounds out my number 3.
All right. Well, it's up to you, Rick. What do you have?
Well, and I'm looking forward to this as an opportunity to catch up to Sir Whittington, because I also agree with Tipp, because he's super smart, and I go Tyrone Tracy. The Vikings are only mid-tier when it comes to defense against the running backs, giving up 107 yards per game and almost a touchdown per game. I actually kind of think this might be a better game for Singletary than Tracy, just because I think Minnesota's defense is a little tougher against running backs in receiving as opposed to running. But, you can't ignore the fact that Tracy was 15 for 70 yards and a touchdown against Washington last week. Seems to have that RB1 role. Singletary was only 5 for 13. And finally, in his last 3 healthy games, Tracy is averaging nearly 18 fantasy points per game. So Jordan Addison, he was only 2 for 66, only had 2 targets last week against the Cowboys. Their Giants pass defense isn't quite as bad against the Cowboys. They do have Paulson Adebo, who will be likely matching up against Jefferson. But they are not, as a team, that much better than the Cowboys. They average 23 fantasy points per game against the wide receiver position. Addison seemed to have a good connection with McCarthy early on, but Hockenson and Naylor were targeted more last week. I still would go with Addison, but he would be my number 2 choice. Mark Andrews was dinged up. Everybody at week 16 is dinged up. Ravens go up against a really tough team in the New England Patriots. They have a really tough defense. But they're only so-so against tight ends, and the Pats were embarrassed last week against the Buffalo Bills, and they gave up huge games, or at least good games, to Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Both of them had touchdowns, or at least Knox had 2 touchdowns, and Kincaid had 34 yards. So while this kind of lines up as a good opportunity, I actually kind of expect if they do go tight end, it's going to be Isaiah Likely. He seems to be growing as part of the Ravens offense, and he was six. And I wrote down some really bad numbers, so I won't even try to finagle them. But anyway,
no. Isaiah, like last week, I think he had no targets. Like he had zeros across the board, right? But the week before that, he had 2 weeks where he had 6 targets. So I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a touchdown against the Steelers. He was 95 yards against the Bengals. I have a feeling that he's going to be more the focus.
See, I love the fact that both Tip and Rick sided with Krog because we know what Krog has done this year. I'm siding with Sir Whittington. I went with Jordan Addison, number 1, all right? He's facing a Giants
You've been loving Jordan Addison for the longest.
Well, but he's facing a Giants defense that ranks in the low 20s in pass yards allowed, okay? It's a favored matchup for any wide receiver. And McCarthy is showing a lot of growth since O'Connell has simplified the offense. All right. He's been top 10 2 weeks in a row. I expect him to be top 10 again this week. I really do. Again, in the preseason, he and McCarthy showed some great chemistry. So I'm hoping that it comes back. We haven't seen it yet, but Addison has converted 6 of 9 targets for 128 yards in the last 2 games. All right. So if he could get 7 or 8 targets in this game, he can convert it. And I think he can score against the Giants as well. Tracy, to me, is the clear starting running back right now. But Singletary is still there. And I also think Tracy gets number 2 to me for one reason. Jackson Dart's starting. When Jackson Dart is your quarterback, your defensive backs and your linebackers cannot overcommit when they flow towards the direction of the ball. Because if they overcommit to Tracy, Dart's going to keep it and cut it upfield because he will run the ball. He's got no fear of running. So I think that keeps that offense on Minnesota even more less aggressive, so more honest in their play. So I think that does help Tracy a bit, just not as much as I expect from Addison this week. And, Mark Andrews is a talented tight end, but I expect him to be around tight end 16 to 19 in PPR ranks this week. He's averaged under 5 points per game over the last several games. And the Patriots defense ranks as a middling to tough matchup against tight ends. So that's it for this segment. Tip, are you going to stay for the mailbag?
I will stay. It's week 16. Let's do it.
We need your help.
And I do believe that Iggy, take us to the mailbag. And Dave, John, so we've got 5 people to answer your questions.
Oh, wow. Oh,
we are going to have fellas, of course. But before we get to the mailbag questions, there was a question in the chat, and since it involves tonight's game, let's get to it right away. About Myers, the kicker. Do we trust him in the weather? And I'm looking over at the NFL weather report. Looks like
yes, you trust him in the weather.
Yeah, I was going to say
he lives in that area. Yeah, he lives in that area anyway. So.
Yeah, the wind is only 16 miles per hour. It does not look like it's raining currently. So yeah, if you're going with Myers, you can stick with.
And I don't think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns in that game. I think it's going to be more field goals. I really do. Both defenses are pretty strong, but both offenses can move the ball. So I think you're going to see 2 or 3 field goals for Myers this week. So I trust him. Sniper Mail had one. Half PPR, Corum or Carter in my flex. Carter is likely the starter this week. So he would. I love Blake Corum. I do. He's a Michigan guy. And I think he's every bit or more talented than Kyron Williams. But the fact is he's the backup. And so I'm going Carter here. Let's go to you, Dave. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on that point. Corum Corum's a terrific back. Seattle's not great team to run on. So I think probably if there's going to be points at the running back position for the Rams, it's going to be Kyron Williams around the goal line. So I'll take Carter in this situation as well.
Tip, what do you say? He doesn't like to agree with me, by the way, so I'm expecting him to go Corum, which is good because I got him to endorse one of my Michigan guys.
Well, no, you brought up a good point talking about the Jason Myers. I think this might be a muddy, muck it up type of like grind it out type of game, and if that's the case, Corum is going to get just as much, if not more, than Michael Carter. I just don't trust Michael Carter. I know you can trust him in the passing game, but when they get down low, Amari DiMercado's there too. We've seen what he can do, even though he fumbled at right before entering in the end zone. But we've seen what he can do. I'm gonna go Corum on this one, man. I like the kid, but I really like the fact that Greg talked about this being a grinded out type of game. It'll be an entertaining game, but it'll be
now he's laying the pick on me. You see that? See how he does that? John, what do you say?
I think if you need safety, Carter, but Corum could pop. So I think the floor ceiling, I mean, he could deliver if you need that. So I think you've got to judge what your team needs. I know that's
2-2. What do you say, Rick?
Okay, I'm going the route I'm playing on one of my games. I'm playing Carter starter. I understand that the Falcons defense, while they're mid-pack just in general against running backs, they're really hard. I don't think they give up many touchdowns.
And at home they haven't given up any touchdown, but they're in the desert this week.
So, but I know also Dennis Mickelson, the professor's
compatriot,
was very big on Michael Carter early on. So I'd still go Carter.
All right, so it's 3-2. Sniper Mel, make your own decision. I thought there was another. Yeah, Swift or Juwan. Okay, so Albert, I'm going to go first. I hate DeAndre Swift with a passion because he was a Lions. I've got a DeAndre Swift Lions jersey that's autographed that I got from my friends at the TSA, and you notice it's not hanging behind me. Okay, it will eventually be. I got to get a box for it, but Juwan Jennings may not play. That's the only problem. He's got an injury. You got to watch him. If Jennings is playing, I'm starting him over Swift. If not, it could be a mutter there because Green Bay is going to play well, I think. So I'm going Jennings, but I think a lot of people disagree with me. Rick, let's go to you next.
Yeah, the only worry I would have is that the 49ers play on Monday night. So if you're holding for Jennings, you got to have some other replacement at hand. And, again, maybe Pearsall's available. I don't know.
Well, Pearsall's injured too. He might not play.
So that's a tough question, and because Pierce, I mean, you really do have to have a good alternative. I know that they were saying that Swift was actually kind of banged up too, and so that there were some people, advising people to rush to get Kyle Monaghan guy. Again, so it's a tough choice.
Monaghan has already been picked up on every league I'm in.
Yeah, so I guess I would go Swift and hope.
Dave?
Yeah, I know Swift's been kind of banged up, but he's been banged up for a while and he's played most of the time. So I'm going to go with Swift here. I'm not totally worried about Juwan Jennings at this point. I mean, they do play Monday night, and we'll find out Saturday if he's going to carry a game designation into the game. If he's questionable, you kind of have to go with Swift. And you've got to make that decision a little bit earlier too, because the Bears game is on Saturday night. So for me, I'm gonna go with Swift here.
John?
All Swift shares for me this week.
Tip?
Yeah, it's easy Swift for me. I mean, they run the ball 37 times a game the last 3 games. 31 on the season. So they're one of the run heaviest teams. And Dave talked about it. He said, yeah, he's been getting a lot of carries. He's been getting a lot. Sometimes when you have nagging injuries or if you have a little bit of injury, yeah, it can pop off at any time. But sometimes if you get run, if you keep getting plays in, you can keep it loose. You can keep it fresh. You can keep it not fresh, but loose to where it doesn't have that pop. Sometimes these injuries, what I think happens is you get a player that doesn't play for a few series. You got freak things that happen, but running backs who don't play for a few series, and then they automatically come in and then something pops up on them or they go. So I think something like that. But when you got a player who they are relying on in Swift, you can keep him playing and keep his body warm. That's the only way.
Okay, with the next one, we're going to go counterclockwise. Tip, you're going first.
All right.
From the mailbag, Chris Cadehead, Dalton Kincaid at Cleveland, Darren Waller versus Cincinnati, or TJ Hawkinson at the Giants. Who you got in week 16?
I'm going TJ Hawkinson. I can't trust Quentin Ewers with Darren Waller. The first one, I think you said is going against Cleveland, and I don't know. I'm not going to go against Myles Garrett. So for me, TJ Hawkinson, I just talked about him. The last 3 games, either he's had a touchdown or he's had over 55 yards. So I think TJ Hawkinson is the lock for me.
John?
Yeah, Hawkinson for me. Yeah.
Dave?
I sat there and pounded the pavement last week on our Start Sit show for the for the tight ends that were playing against the Bengals, and they dropped a deuce on me. So I'm still going to go with Waller. I think if Ewers is going to need a target, and if they get anywhere near the red zone, they love throwing the ball to the Waller in the end zone. So I'm going to take Waller against the worst defense against tight ends.
All right, Rick?
And I think in our earlier chat page, I even said, gee, can I switch my – I'm actually going to stick with Waller. I think that in the games he's played, that he's been healthy. He's been a monster near the end zone. And they say that a tight end is the rookie quarterback's best friend. So I will take that and say that Darren Waller is going to be highly targeted as the Miami offense is going to have targets.
Well, nobody's going with Kincaid here, and part of the reason is he's only getting about 35% snap share. He has not been on the field. People don't realize that he is not the number one in Buffalo. He's just not. That's Knox is the number one tight end in Buffalo. Kincaid's the receiving tight end, but he's just not on the field enough. I'm going to break the tie because it's 2-2. I'm going with TJ, to be honest. I can't trust a rookie in his very first start against a defense that's playing much better than they did early in the year. So TJ for me. So it's 3-2 TJ over Waller. Joseph Brown, Dak Prescott versus the Chargers, or Joe Burrow at Miami this week. Okay, same direction. Let's go, Tip.
I cannot trust Joe Burrow right now. The dude is singing a sad song. So I'm gonna go Dak Prescott, even though I do not like the matchup. I do like his wide receivers, and I like Jake Ferguson. So I'm gonna go Dak Prescott. I can't trust Joe Burrow. I don't know what's up with him right now. He's clearly in his head.
John?
Burrow for me. I think the matchup's too good, too sweet.
I understand that. Dave?
Yeah, in this case, I'm going to go with Burrow. I have shares of Burrow that I played last week, and I got pretty toasted playing him. But he's the more talented guy. And Miami's a train wreck. I just want that matchup. I think the Chargers are a lot tougher. So I'm going to take Burrow against the Dolphins over Prescott.
Rick?
Chargers.
Yeah, any chance I could dunk on a Dallas Cowboy, I'll take it. So, Dak's going against the second toughest defense against quarterbacks.
That's tough.
And Joe Burrow is frustrated now. Will that convert to playing mad and playing big, or is he already thinking he's going to be traded next season? So we don't know, but I'll still go with Joe Burrow here.
All right. Well, I'm going to muddy things up a little bit. I think both are projected as low QB1s, low end QB1s. They're both somewhat inconsistent, but they both have great receivers. Okay. I don't know if T. Higgins is going to play, but
that's another thing.
But you still got Jamar Chase there. You got Chase Brown, who can catch the ball and run the ball. So both have good plays. Dak's been more consistent, but he's facing a much tougher defense. As these guys said, Joe is going against an opponent that's playing a rookie quarterback in his first start. Okay. My first thought was Burrow, but the more I think about it, the more I think it's more likely that Dak gets involved in a shootout with the Chargers, because both those teams can score points. So a shootout gives your quarterback a chance to get a lot of garbage yards. And so for me, it's got to be Dak this week. We got a question in the chat, supposedly from me. Anita Winna, PPR, Flowers or Mike Evans?
Anita Winna.
Anita needs a winner. Anyway, we'll start with Dave and go counterclockwise. So, Dave, who do you got?
Yeah, we all wish we were dating. We all wish we were dating Anita Winna. So I'm going to go with Mike Evans. He's an animal out there when he's healthy, and Flowers is very variable, and Lamar Jackson just isn't playing very well right now. So give me Evans.
John?
Evans, no doubt.
Tip?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Evans here. Last week was a strong performance, even though Zay Flowers was a strong performance too. It's just Mike Evans has that connection. And again, I go back to the offense. I just can't trust the Ravens offense right now.
This is the first year in Evans' career where he's not going to get 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
But what did they say about Evans? They never said he was a yardage guy. What they said is he only catches touchdowns. I got to go Evans. Rick, what about you?
Make it Evans for me too.
All right. Anything else in the chat?
No. It looks like do you have a worry about Justin Jefferson?
You always worry about every receiver, and Jefferson hasn't been performing. So, of course, you got to worry. But you didn't draft him in the first round to sit him in your playoffs. Right. So you got to play him. Yeah. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd have to have a pretty strong candidate to replace Mike Evans. I mean, it would have to be a guy.
Not Evans.
Oh, no, Jefferson.
Oh, sorry, Justin Jefferson. Excuse me. I have Evans on the brain. But no, Jefferson's got to be in your lineup unless you've got another top 15 guy.
Would you put Evans in over him?
I would, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. John?
That would be your top 10 type wide receiver, sure.
Yeah, I would be looking to replace Jefferson. And Evan, that's what I'd be doing.
Well, John, let me ask you this: long term, like if this is a dynasty league, long term, or just
one game.
Right now. Okay.
Let's not get out of hand. Jefferson's still one of the most
improved. Yeah, for dynasty, you hold. In fact, you could buy on the cheap.
This is
a question about starting it. This is a question about starting him in your playoffs. So,
okay.
You worried about him, Tip?
No, I'm more worried about Addison than him.
Rick?
Oh no, I'd still be starting Jefferson. And
okay, we got three quick ones we want to go through. We got three quick ones. Just give me the answer. Don't give me the reasoning. From Sean Bennett, Jordan Love, or Bo Nix? Start with you, Tip. Go counterclockwise.
Nix.
John?
Love.
Nix.
Dave? Two Nix, one Love. What do you got, Rick?
Love.
Yeah, it's next for me, so 3-2. All right, from Christopher Cooper. This is going to be a tough one. Start Bucky Irvin at Carolina or Trevion Henderson at Baltimore. Tip, going same direction.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Give me Travion Henderson though. I think he can pop another one off.
John?
Lucky Bucky.
Irving
Dave?
for me. Irving for me.
Rick?
Irvin for me.
Irvin for me. Trevion had one good week. You don't go overboard.
No, he has not.
All right. Well, I thought it was a good week. Anyway, from Leanne DePisa. All right, guys. Bo Nix or Brock Purdy? This
Bo
is for
Nix.
her championship.
Knicks.
Purdy.
Yeah.
Oof.
Knicks for me.
Rick?
I'd go Purdy.
I think Purdy's a safe pick, but in a championship, I want upside. I'm going Knicks. So that's it for our show, guys. And I want to thank you guys for hanging on and answering the mailbag questions. See you all next week, because some championship games are actually week 17, not week 16. Take us out, Iggy.